Deputy President David Mabuza will respond to questions from members of the National Assembly today on his work as chairperson of the Committee on Land Reform. He's expected to reaffirm the government's commitment to land restitution through an accelerated land reform program. Now, for analysis ahead of David Mabuza's appearance in Parliament, I'm joined by political analyst Levy Ndou. Levy, good morning. Good to speak to you. A number of issues that the Deputy President will have to address this afternoon. Key amongst those is land reform and Iscom.
Good morning to you, Hugo. Good morning to the viewers at home. Indeed, I see this as an opportunity for the government to outline its plans to the nation in relation to a number of issues. But high on the agenda in today's briefing would be the Deputy President providing clarity on matters of land, on matters of Iscom, and other matters that relate to peace and security in the Southern African region. And I think these are the very same issues that has been part of the government's plan, and ordinary citizens and parliamentarians would want to know progress that government has actually made in relation to these matters. And I think also one would expect the Deputy President to provide a report on the progress that has been made on such issues and further steps that government has to take in terms of moving forward in dealing with those issues. And of course, everybody else will want to know what is the government's plan in relation to Iscom now that we're approaching festive seasons.
Well, I suppose the question is beyond festive season, because the President has said categorically that the problem of Iscom will be with us for the foreseeable future. Indeed,
that is what is coming from the President himself, but the unfortunate part is that that is not what ordinary citizens expect to hear. Look, the activities surrounding Iscom, with the load shedding, with corruption that has been taking place, it's something that ordinary citizens cannot avoid, because each time there is a power cut, an ordinary person would say, we have got a state entity that is given resources to provide electricity, but now there is no electricity that we have. And one would also expect government to say, these are the tangible measures that government is taking in order to address that problem. And you don't expect ordinary citizens to say, government has always been able to identify the problem, they also share our pain. That is not what an ordinary citizen wants to hear. An ordinary citizen who has got a small business, a citizen who relies on electricity for his or her daily activities, would not want to hear something like that. People would expect government to say, these are the strong measures that we're taking in order to ensure that the word load shedding has to disappear in the South African vocabulary.
That would certainly be a nice thing. But let's go back to the land issue, and certainly some of the questions that the Deputy President is likely to have to answer this afternoon.
Well, I think there are a number of issues that the Deputy President has to deal with. Apart from the bigger issue of amending the Constitution, the President has to, the Deputy President rather, has to provide clarity on issues that relate to how land is being utilized in South Africa. What are the programs that government has to uplift small-scale farmers, to uplift ordinary citizens who have actually developed passion in agriculture, and also to provide clarity on the audit, on the land audit in South Africa. But more important, the Deputy President has to provide clarity on the ordinary citizens about the use and productive use of land in South Africa. The measures that the government has actually come with, or they have developed for the actual use of land in a very productive manner. And of course, it is an opportunity, as I've indicated earlier, for the Deputy President to outline government's plan in terms of how progressively the government is actually moving in addressing these important challenges facing the nation.
Now, when it comes to peace in the region, we talk about the insurgency in Mozambique and all the violence that's been going on next door, if you will, in Eswatini. What are some of the questions that are likely to be posed to the Deputy President?
Well, firstly, when there is a threat of peace in the neighboring states, like we're facing now with Mozambique and Eswatini, whether you like it or not, as a neighboring country, you get affected. But also at the same time, South Africa is part of the SADC region, and it's also part of the component that has to deal with peace and security in the region. So, of course, one would expect MPs to find out the progress that has been made in relation to ensuring that there is peace and stability in Mozambique and also in Eswatini, and then the Deputy President must then be able to outline the steps that government has actually taken in an attempt to deal with the challenges facing the two nations. But also at the same time, we also need to bear in mind that even though you have got a community of SADC, you also have to observe internal dynamics in states as in respecting their sovereignty, but also at the same time having to ensure that you participate as a neighboring country or as part of the SADC community in ensuring that there is peace and stability in those countries.
Levy Ndou, political analyst, thank you for your time this morning, speaking to us ahead of Deputy President David Mabuza's appearance in Parliament this afternoon and a precursor to some of the questions that he is likely to face.